So I recently had this situation. It's come up a couple times, so I kind of want to talk about it. So when it comes to EMD, which stands for earnest money deposit. So it's basically when you make an offer on a property, you're giving a good faith deposit toward the seller, letting them know that you're serious about it. So you're going to give a deposit that goes toward the transaction. That's still your money, but the seller knows you're serious when they take it off the market, et cetera, et cetera. So, but on the mortgage side, we got to be careful because you want to get credit for that money. Well, any kind of money that you need for the transaction, or what we call cash to close, that has to be what we call sourced. Sourced means we have to find out where it came from, right? A valid source, right? A bank account, or make sure it wasn't borrowed, pulled out another credit card, came from an acceptable source, right? So I had a situation where if I put down a $5,000 earnest money deposit, we asked for the bank statement to source it. And like, oh yeah, we didn't have anything in the bank. We got it from XYZ. I forgot. I think it was from a shoebox or something. Long story short, the borrower had a ton of money in the bank. So some lenders will say, go ahead and just what they call back it out. Just back it out. We need $30,000. We have 50. Just pretend we don't need the 5,000. Okay, we have plenty of money in there, right? But what I've come across is some lenders or some underwriters have told me, just take it out of the contract. If we want to back it out, remove it from the contract. Get an addendum removing that EMD from the contract. Here's my pushback and here's my question to my realtors on this is, I don't think that's a good idea because once you remove it from the contract, now there's no deposit. You write an addendum that says, hey, listen, we're removing the $5,000 EMD. Now, technically, if the loan doesn't go through, that seller can't come back after the buyer and say, hey, I took the deposit, I made a good faith to take it off the market. Your loan didn't go through. I'm going to try to keep some of that deposit, which sometimes happens when the buyer doesn't perform. So I took pushback on my underwriter and said, listen, I can't just alter the contract because now it puts the seller at a huge risk. I get we're trying to protect the buyer, but we can't just alter contracts or tell realtors to alter contracts. Now, if they want to and they agree to, that's on them. But be careful because a lot of underwriters will say, we got to remove it from the contract, right? If we can't source it, you have to take it off this contract that we're talking about. I think that's a pretty big risk. So again, I want to hear from realtors and kind of see on that because the realtors that push back, some have said, yeah, no problem. Some are like, no, Mike, I am not doing that. I cannot put my sellers at risk, or we're going to try to go back to the seller's agent. They're going to tell us to go pound sand. There's no way they're going to do that. It's kind of a slippery slope because I said, well, we don't really need the money. They have enough in there. So let's just tell you what, let's just keep the contract the way it is. This is the $5,000 credit they were going to get. They still get that money. That money just doesn't disappear. It's just now they got to come in with an extra $5,000 because we couldn't give them that credit. So they'll get that money back, right? It's just we can't give them that credit. So that's how we work that out. But again, be careful of that. But I also want to hear from our realtors and see if that's kind of a sticky, slippery slope when you're asking them to remove that EMD from the contract just because we couldn't source it.